With us now from Capitol Hill, Utah Congressman Jason Chaffetz. He is one of the Republicans who voted to cut off funding for Obamacare. Congressman, good morning.
Good morning.
You heard from those people in that group. What do you say to them who believe, that Washington doesn't care what they say and is not listening?
Well, the pigsty that is Washington, D.C. gets mud on a lot of people. And the question is, what are you going to do moving forward? What I don't understand is why the president and the Senate Democrats will not agree to come talk to those of us that have deep concerns about the fairness of what is Obamacare. And that, to me, is just not understandable to people in my district and across the country. At least come to the table and talk about your differences. The House Republicans, that's what we're trying to do.
Well, some of those people say you've already voted on Obamacare. That discussion has already been had. I think that's the argument of the president. So you're talking about legislation that has been passed.
Well, but what we're concerned about is, since that legislation was passed, there have been hundreds of exceptions put out there. What we've said is Congress should live by the same rules that everybody else is living by, and that if businesses are going to get an exception, how about the individuals get an exception? That seems to be reasonable ground to create an even playing field and have everybody on the same ground, given that the president unilaterally changed the law since it was passed.
I've even heard, Congressman, some people say, if we're not getting paid, you all shouldn't get paid either. That things would go a lot quicker if members of Congress weren't getting paid during this ordeal.
Well, I had a difficult discussion with my wife 2 days ago when I sent a letter over to the clerk of the House, and I said, hold my paycheck until this gets resolved. And that's not fun for the Chaffetz family, but that's what we're doing. Now, under the Constitution, I will eventually get paid, and I hope all the federals get their back pay. But I'm trying to do, I think, the right thing and give up my own paycheck until this is resolved.
Well, a lot of people aren't following that position, but it seems to be very contentious even in the Republican Party. One of your colleagues, Devin Nunes, called you guys lemmings. He said you don't seem to have an end game, that the Democrats will be the ones to benefit from the shutdown. What do you say to him about that?
Well, I think we're very united. We were trying to pass bills last night to make sure the military is paid. That has already gone through. But then we tried to make sure that the veterans are taken care of, that we open up the national parks, that we're opening up those monuments, we take care of the problems here in D.C. That seems like a reasonable thing to do, is deal with these. They have nothing to do with Obamacare, by the way. But yet the Democrats have said, we're not going to negotiate, we're not going to talk, we're not going to fund other parts of the government. Come on. I think what you heard in the focus group is come to the table and have a discussion. That's what House Republicans are asking for.
On that note, Congressman, about having a discussion, the House has voted more than 40 times to defund Obamacare. It hasn't gone anywhere. The Supreme Court has ruled on this. It is the law of the land. Businesses have to apply and comply with the law, right? Why not work to...
Businesses don't. They got an exception. That's that's our issue, is that the president unilaterally, for very special interest, granted them exceptions. They don't have to comply with the mandate. We're saying that individuals should have that same right as businesses. That's the way the law was set up, but that's not the way it is right now.
Businesses and individuals are already making plans to comply with the law. Why not try and change the law, which is the normal process of legislating? Laws get passed. They aren't always great or perfect. And so members of Congress work to change that over time once they get reaction from their constituents, businesses, others. Why not make that the solution?
Well, we can't get to a solution until the Senate Democrats and the President of the United States himself agree to have a discussion about it. I mean, it's hard to believe, isn't it, that the President of the United States day after day will look the people in the eye and say, well, there is nothing to talk about here. Well, there is something to talk about. At least sit down and have the discussion.
All right, Congressman Chaffetz, we'll have to leave it there. We thank you.